Hello everyone, welcome you all again to the channel Technical Tutorial for your next video. So today we are going to discuss some other topics from your syllabus. So see, this is your syllabus. From the syllabus we have discussed in last two videos from the unit 1 computer science and organization, basic computer organization, types of software, memory units, Boolean logic, number system, encoding schemes we have already done in last two videos. Okay, so in this video we are going to discuss concept of computer and interpreter, operating system, concept of cloud computing and cloud services. Okay, so now let's start. For this topic I have prepared one PPT for you. From this PPT I am going to discuss. Okay, so now here about compiler and interpreter. So now see, compiler and interpreter both are used for compilation. That is, see, both are used to convert the source code to object code. That is the main thing. But compiler will check the errors, it executes the program as a whole, and at one end, at the end of the program, and interpreter will execute and checks the errors line by line. So the meaning you will understand automatically. See here, compiler converts source code to object code. It is a program that converts instructions into a machine code or lower level form so that they can be read and executed by a computer. Computer checks errors as a whole at the end. That means when you are going to type the program, you have completed typing of the program, then when you are going to run the program, then it will check the errors. If any errors are there, then it will show the error that here is the error, you have to correct it, then only the program will execute. But in case of interpreter, see, convert source code to object code, it is also doing the same thing. A program that can analyze and execute a program line by line. Okay, so that means, see, when you are going to type the program, at the time of typing, if you have error in the second line suppose, then your program will not go to the next line. When you will correct your error, then only you can go to the next line. So now basis for comparison, some differences it is there. Compiler and interpreter, see, as input it takes an entire program at a time. Okay, it takes single line of code of or instruction at a time. Working mechanism, the compilation is done before execution. Here see, compilation and execution take place simultaneously in case of interpreter. Okay, in case of speed, comparatively faster compiler and it is slower interpreter. Errors, display all errors after compilation at the same time and display errors each line by line. Okay, in case of interpreter. In case of compiler, again, error detection difficult, and in case of interpreter, error comparable, easier comparability. And comparatively, here see partitioning uh, partitioning programming language. So here some programming languages are for compiler is C, C++ is there, and C sub is there, Scala, TypeScript, users compiler. So these are different programs which use compiler. And here in case of interpreter, some programs, other programs are there. PHP is there, Perl is there, Python is there. Now you are going to learn about Python. So your Python is executed by an interpreter. Okay, just you have to remember, this is not a compiler. It will show your errors line by line, not check it will as a whole. Okay, after that, see, operating system. An operating system, okay, next topic is the operating system from your syllabus. So here operating system is the interconnection between user and hardware, we can say. Okay, so now see all the hardwares, how it will be controlled. Okay, who control the hardware, who can interact the users with the hardware. So for that, operating system is there. Operating system is the interconnection between the user and hardware. Okay, so now see, operating system, already we have discussed about the softwares. So there is application software and system software. So operating system is the system software here which control the hardware. Okay, now see, an operating system is the system software that manages computer hardware, software resources, and provides common services for computer programs. And for time sharing, see, operating system schedule tasks for efficient use of the system and may also include accounting software for cost allocation or processor time, mass storage, printing, and other resources. After that, uh, for hardware for hardware functions such as input and output and memory allocation, the operating system acts as an intermediary between the programs and the computer hardware. Although the although the application code is usually executed directly by the hardware and frequently makes system calls to an operating system function or is interrupted by it. Operating systems are found on many devices that contain a computer, from cellular phones and video games consoles to web servers and supercomputers. So without operating system we cannot handle the hardware. Okay, so in case of time sharing also, operating system is doing schedule, how it is scheduling tasks. So everything actually it is there, the type functions of the operating system and every need of the operating system I have prepared in the next slides, so you can see from here. So hardware management, everything it is doing. Software management is also doing application softwares. After that is operating system, see how it is working. From the user it is giving the input and it will take the application software. Okay, then application software will send your instruction to the operating system, then operating system will send your instruction to the hardware, then hardware will send to the operating system again, operating system it will send the application software, then you will get the user defined output. Okay, so this is the process how operating system will work. Process management, interrupts, memory management, file system, device drivers, networking, security, all these are the functions of operating systems. Okay, so now say need of operating system. Why operating system is needed? Operating system as a platform for application programs. Okay, operating system provides a platform on top which other programs called application programs can run. To run the other application programs we need operating system. Without operating system we cannot execute suppose MS Word, we cannot execute suppose Photoshop, we cannot execute Tele. That means other application softwares we cannot execute without operating system. Okay, we have to install the operating system first, then only we can use that other application softwares. These application programs helped the users to perform a specific task easily. It acts as an interface between the computer and the user. Okay, after that again see managing input output unit. Operating system also allows the computer to manage its own resources such as memory, monitor, keyboard, printer, etc. The operating system controls the various system input output resources and allocates them to the users or programs as per their requirement. Okay, after that consistent user interface. Operating system provides the user an easy to work user interface, so the user doesn't have to learn a difficult user interface every time and can focus on the content and be productive as quickly as possible. Operating system provides templates, user interface components to make the working of a computer really easy for the user. After one another need of operating system is multitasking. See, operating system manages memory and allow multiple programs to run in their own space and even communicate with each other through shared memory. Multitasking gives us a good experience as they can perform several tasks on a computer at the same time. That is known as multitasking. At the same time, if you are working on different application in a system, we can do so. That is one of the another major function of the operating system that we can that can perform at the same time. That means several application at we can use at the same time. After that functions of an operating system. See, an operating system has variety of functions to perform. Some of prominent function of an operating system can be broadly outlined as, see, processor management. This is one of the major function of operating system. So how processor it will manage? the this deals with management of the central processing unit. Okay, CPU is already there inside the system already, you know. CPU can perform all the processes. We can give only instruction to the system, that instruction processed by the CPU only, and it will give the user defined output, right? So how it will manage CPU by the operating system? For that, this point is there. The operating system takes care of the allotment of CPU time to different processes. Okay, so at the same time we can do different process. We can request for different process to the system. The system has to work which job has to do first and which was next, which is next. When the processor finishes its CPU processing after execution for the allotted time period, this is called scheduling. Okay, there are various type of scheduling techniques that are used by the operating systems. Shortest job first. Process which need the shortest CPU time are scheduled first. That means at the same time, if you are assigning different tasks to perform by the CPU, okay, you have given instruction, suppose to play music, to suppose you are doing something, suppose you are exporting something. So different tasks you have given at the same time. Okay, then processor will check and it will process that task which is the which will take less time. Okay, that is shortest job first. After that, round robin scheduling is there. Each process is assigned a fixed CPU execution time in cycle way. That means that is another types of scheduling. So in this scheduling, every processes will take a fixed CPU execution time. That means in this limited of period of time, this process has to be done. Okay. After that, priority based scheduling is also there, non-primitive. So non-primitive here, see, in this scheduling process are scheduled according to their priorities. That is, highest priority process is scheduled first. If priorities of two processes match, then scheduling according to the arrival time. Which job has given first, then that will do first. Okay, that will process first. After that, one another function of processor manage another function of operating system is device management. One is processor management, already we have done. How it will manage the processor? By assigning the by doing the scheduling techniques. Okay, so here different scheduling techniques are there, already we have discussed. After that, device management is there. The operating system communicates with hardware and the attached device and maintains a balance between them and the CPU. Okay, this is all. See, already we know that operating system has to manage all the hardwares, all the inputs, all the outputs, everything it manages. So device management is also one of the major task of operating system. So here he see, this is all the more important because the CPU processing speed is much higher than that of the input output device. In order to optimize the CPU time, the operating system employs two techniques, that is buffering and spooling. Okay, so here see, for buffering, what about the buffering? Already you know. In this technique, input and output data is temporarily stored in input buffer and output buffer. Once the signal for input or output is sent to or from the CPU respectively, the operating system through the device controller moves the data from the input device to the input buffer and for the output device to the output buffer. In case of input, if buffer is full, the operating system sends a signal to the program which processes the data stored in the buffer. When the buffer becomes empty, then the program informs the operating system which reloads the buffer and the input operation continues. Okay, so that is the process of device management. So here, see, operating system communicates with hardware and the attached devices and maintain the balance between the them with the CPU. Okay, so every devices has to connect with CPU. This is all the more important because the CPU processing speed is much higher than the input output devices. Okay, in order to optimize the CPU time, the operating system employs this technique. So here, this is about buffering. After the spooling is another. So here see, in case of spooling, this is a device management technique which is used for processing of different tasks on the same input output devices. When there are various users on a network sharing the same resources, okay, then it can be a possibility that more than one user might give it a command at the same point of time. So the operating system temporarily stores the data of every user on the hard disk of the computer to which the resource is attached. The individual user need to not to wait for the execution process to be completed. Instead the operating system sends the data from the hard disk to the resource one by one. The example is printer here. So at the time of, see, in a network printer, suppose in a network so many machines are connected, suppose 10 machines are connected, one printer is also connected. Then if one printer is send the print request, okay, so it is suppose printing, then another printer another request has to wait. That means another printer, suppose 10 users are there, so 5 users is sending the print request at the same time from the network. Then one printing, when it will complete, then the another printing will do. So for that case, that request, the next request, it will store in the queue, print queue. So that is one of the example of spooling. So another function of operating system is memory management. In a computer, see, both the CPU and input output devices interact with the memory. Without memory, it cannot process anything. It has to store everything for temporary period of time or for permanently in the memory already, you know. So now see, when a program need to be executed, it is loaded onto the main memory till the execution is completed. Already we have discussed. That means during the execution of the program, every information is stored in RAM. That is the main memory, you can say. So see, thereafter the memory space is freed and is available for other programs. The common memory management technique is used by operating system, are partitioning and virtual memory. So these are common memory system that is used by operating system. So see, partitioning, see, the total memory is divided into various partitions of same size or different sizes, okay. So this helps to accommodate number of programs in the memory. If you are sending different number of programs at the same time, so every programs have to store somewhere. For that, this partitioning technique is used by the operating system. The partitioning can be fixed, that is remains same for all programs in the memory, or variable. Memory is allocated when a program is loaded onto the memory. After that, see, another technique is virtual memory. So this is the technique used by the operating system, which allows the user can load the program which are larger than the main memory of the computer. In this technique, the program is executed even if the complete program cannot be loaded inside the main memory. Loading of efficient memory utilization. So that is the virtual memory technique. So here, see, when your program is larger than your main memory, then from hard disk it will take some space. That process is done by the operating system to load your larger program into the memory. So after that, file management is also there. The operating system manages the files and folders directly systems on a computer. Any data on a computer is stored in the form of files, and the operating system keeps information about all them using file allocation table, that is known as FAT. Okay, FAT file system. The FAT stores general information about files like file name, type, text or binary. What types of file is this? So after the size, starting address and access mode, sequential, indexed. uh, the file manager of the operating system helps to create, edit, copy, allocate memory to the files, and also updates the FAT. The operating system also takes care that files and opened with proper across access rights to read or edit them. So that is about the file management. That is another important function of operating system. Okay, after that, user interface is there. A user interface refers to the part of an operating system, program or device that allows a user to enter and receive information. A text-based user interface displays text, and uh, its commands are usually typed on the command line using keyboard. With a graphical user interface, The functions are carried out by clicking and or moving buttons, icons, and menus by means of a pointing device. So see, the left side is, this is the command line interface, CLI, and this the right side screen is your graphical user interface, GUI. Okay, these two user interfaces are there. So that command prompt is one of the example of CLI. After that, the next point is cloud computing. Okay. Uh, Cloud computing is the on-demand availability of computer system resources, especially data storage and computing power, without direct active management by the user. The term is generally used to describe data centers available to many users over the internet. Large cloud, predominant today, often have functions distributed over multiple locations on the central servers. From the central servers, it can send the signals to multiple locations. Cloud computing relies on sharing of resources. Cloud computing allows companies to avoid or minimize upfront IT infrastructure costs. Okay, and cloud computing allows enterprise to get their applications up and running faster with improved manageability and less maintenance. That's about the cloud computing. So here, after this slide, wait, okay, some cloud services are also given here. So that is, the first services is infrastructure as a service, IaaS. A vendor provides clients pay as you go access to storage, networking, servers, and other computing resources in cloud. Okay, so here organizations use their own platforms and applications within a server, within a service provider's infrastructures. The infrastructure will provide by the service provider. Okay, and the platform or applications within the organization is use their own platform and applications within a service provider's infrastructures. Okay, after some key features of IaaS is there. Instead of purchasing hardware outright, user pay for IaaS on demand. Okay, and infrastructure is scalable depending on processing and storage needs. Saves enterprises the cost of buying and maintaining their own hardware. Because data is on cloud, there can be no single point of failure. So these are the key features of IaaS. After that, another service is platform as a service, PaaS. So here see, a service provider offers access to a cloud-based environment in which user can build and deliver applications. The provider supplies underlying infrastructure. That is, see, uh, in addition to storage and other computing resources, users are able to use a suite of pre-built tools to develop, customize, and test their own applications. Key features: PaaS provides a platform with tools to test, develop, and host applications in the same environment. Enables organization to focus on development without having to worry about underlying infrastructures. Providers manage security, operating system, server software, and backups. Facilities collaborative work, even if term work remotely. So you can say when you are hosting an website, then that is one example of this PaaS. If you are hosting a website, so everything will provide by the service provider. Okay, so another is software as service, that is SaaS. A service provider delivers software and application through the internet. Users subscribe to the software and access it via web or vendor APIs. Uh, Here see, user do not install application on their local devices. Instead, the application resides on the remote cloud network accessed through the web or an API. Through the application, user can store and analyze data and collaborate on projects. So these are the three services of cloud. This the key feature of this is SaaS vendor provides users with software and application via a subscription model. Users do not have to manage, install, or upgrade software. SaaS providers manage this. Okay, data is secure in the cloud. Equipment failure doesn't result in loss of data. use of resources can be scaled depending on service needs, and applications are accessible from almost any internet connected device from virtually anywhere in the world. So these are the key features of SaaS. So after that, what about the public cloud and private cloud are there? So see, a public cloud is a cloud service offered to multiple customers by a cloud provider. The term public cloud is used to differentiate between the original cloud model of services accessed over the internet and the private cloud model. Public clouds include SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS services. Like all cloud services, a public cloud service run on remote servers that a provider manages. Customers of the provider access those services over the internet. This is about the public cloud. So difference between public and private, see here a private cloud, a company A, which is company A is private cloud, and company B is here see public cloud shared. The first one is the private cloud and next one is public cloud. In public cloud by multiple companies is sharing the same cloud. Okay, company B is also sharing the same resources, company E is also sharing the same resources, C is also sharing the same resources. This is about the public cloud. A private cloud, this is the differentiate between public and private. A private cloud is a cloud service that is not shared with any other organization. The private cloud users has to cloud to themselves. Okay. By contrast, a public cloud is a cloud service that share computing services among different customers, even though each customer's data and applications running in the cloud remain hidden from the other cloud customers. Okay, a public cloud is like renting an apartment. Okay, this is a real life example. Just see, a public cloud is like an real life apartment, while a private cloud is while a private cloud is like renting a similarly sized house. The houses is more private, but it also typically cost more to rent, and it is not the most efficient use of resources. Maintenance is in the apartment is handled by the building supervisor, but it's harder to get a contractor out to fix the houses. Okay, there are hosted private clouds, so that is different, which are offered by a third party cloud provider, and internal private clouds which are managed and maintained by an organization internally. These are the differences between public and private cloud. So if you will go through the PPT, then you will understand everything. So here another one topic is there, that is blockchain technology. So this is one of the example of blockchain technology, that is Google Docs. It is given here. See, blockchain technology is most simply defined as a decentralized distributed ledger that records the provenance of digital assets. And here blockchain sometimes refers to as distributed ledger technology, DTL, makes the history of any digital assets unalterable and transparent through the use of decentralized and cryptographic hashing. A simple analogy for understanding blockchain technology is a Google Doc. When we create a document and share it with a group of people, the document is distributed instead of copied or transferred. This creates a decentralized distribution, saying that gives everyone access to the document at the same time. No one is locked out awaiting changes from another party, while all modifications to the documents are being recorded in real time and making changes completely transparent. That about the blockchain technology. Okay, thank you. So we have just discussed about your remaining topic from unit 1. So for another unit we will start in the next video. So if you have any doubt, then you can ask me in WhatsApp group.